Today in the Canning Kitchen, we'll be making French onion soup. In order to make our French onion soup, we'll need first 4 pounds of your choice of onions, a tablespoon of non-salted butter, any dry seasonings of your choice. So we have a teaspoon each of black pepper, garlic powder, whole thyme, and bay leaves. We also have 3 cups of dry white wine, such as a Chardonnay, a tablespoon of non-iodized salt, and 3 quarts of broth or stock of your choice. Today we're using a combination of both a beef stock and a vegetable broth. Since I know it will take a while for my water to warm up on a burner plate, I went ahead and prepped my canner with roughly 3 quarts of water and a splash of white vinegar to prevent staining. I'm going to go ahead and put in my jars in the canner. Today's recipe calls for 8 pints or 4 quarts. I went ahead with pints since they're great for a single serving. I also opted for a regular mouth jar since the contents will be easy to pour out when it comes time to using it. In the meantime, I need to go ahead and take all of my pre-peeled onions and slice them into thin rings, starting by cutting off the ends. Once again, you can always opt for a medallion cutter if you prefer. We want to go ahead and put all of our onions into a separate bowl so that we can save the burner to start our soup base. With all of our onions cut, we're going to go ahead and start the base of our soup. Go ahead and turn on your burner, and we're going to start with our 1 tablespoon of butter. I opted for a non-salted butter since there will be salt in the recipe as well as in the broth and stock. We need to go ahead and melt our butter. Once our butter is melted, we're going to go ahead and pour in all of our onion slices and following this up with all of our dry seasonings. First, I will add in about a tablespoon of our non-iodized salt. It's very important that it is non-iodized, so it helps preventing it from being cloudy. Next, we'll need a teaspoon of our dried thyme. I have a whole variety here. A teaspoon of our garlic powder. Roughly a teaspoon of our black pepper. We want 2 bay leaves. And most importantly, we want 2 cups of our dry white wine. We'll save our last cup for later on. Remember, you can always adjust the quantity or the type of dried spices that you're using for your desired flavor. We will go ahead and mix everything up to evenly distribute our spices. Next, we'll go ahead and cover up our onions for about 1 hour, stirring occasionally. this time, we're wanting our onions to cook down to become nice and soft. After about an hour, we'll go ahead and remove our lid and keep cooking down our onions until they are golden in color. You will notice that the onions will start cooking to the bottom of the pot, but no worries, this will help add to the overall flavor of your soup. Once my onions are golden, I first pull out my bay leaves. You can go ahead and leave them in if you desire. Then we will go ahead and pour in our remaining cup of dry white wine and stir for an additional 2 minutes. During this time, we want to focus on getting the brown flavored bits off the bottom of our pot. After this, go ahead and pour in your 3 quarts of broth or stock of your choosing. If you use a commercial one, make sure you shake it up to get all of the flavors. Once in, I want to go ahead and mix everything together and bring it to a boil. Once boiling, turn the soup down to a simmer for 15 minutes and keep stirring so nothing sticks to the bottom of the pot. At the same time, I go ahead and get all of my tools together. My jar lifter, my pressure regulator, lids, funnels, ladle, anything else I need. At my 15-minute mark, I go ahead and turn off my burner and start pulling out a few of my mason jars from the canner so I can start the filling process. With my funnel and a stainless steel ladle, I'm going to begin filling each jar, working to maintain a 1-inch headspace. Once full, I verify that my headspace is correct, lay down my flat lid and ring, and go ahead and finger tighten my jar. Once my jar starts spinning on the towel, I know it's tight enough and I put it back into my pressure canner. If the jar is too tight, the lids can buckle, which creates a bad seal. With all of my jars in the canner, I go ahead and remove any empty jars that I did not fill. Next, I'm going to go ahead and cover the canner, making sure to lock my lid in place and wait for it to build pressure. Once the lid vent has started to produce a steady stream of steam, we're going to go ahead and set a 10-minute timer. After your 10 minutes are up, it indicates that all excess air is out of your canner and it is now time to put on your weight. This is a 3-piece weight. We'll need the 5-pound base and one of the 5-pound rings for my elevation. Once the weight is steadily rocking, as you see here, we'll go ahead and start our 1-hour process time. If you're using quarts, it'll be 1 hour 15. After your process time is up, go ahead and turn off your burner. Since I have a heat plate which will retain heat, I'm going to pick up my canner and move it to a different surface so it can cool down naturally. By letting our canner cool naturally, we're looking for our weight to stop rocking and the lid lock to go back down to a neutral position. Since our canner is cool and no longer under pressure, we're going to go ahead and remove our weight and let it sit for another 10 minutes. After waiting 10 minutes, we can go ahead and carefully take off the lid of our canner, making sure to open it away from you. Now using our jar lifter, we're going to go ahead and remove each of our jars from the canner, making sure to keep them upright. Our jars will sit for 12 to 24 hours before we can test them for a successful seal. Then it'll be time to wash and store for future use. Happy canning!